I'm Katrina, and this is So in Tare, and today I want to talk to you guys about Broody Quail. That's a boy. So I came out last night and to get the eggs. I hadn't been out here in a couple days because it has just been storming, and I knew they had food and water. I kind of peeked in and checked, and everybody looked okay. So I left it at that. We had, you know, superstorms, and like I said, everybody looked okay from the outside, and I figured that those eggs would just be eating eggs for us. And so I came in, and it turns out both of my aviaries have broody hens. So I want to talk a little bit about my experience in broody hens, and just kind of some thoughts. So a lot of people have questions about what happens with broody, how do you get them to go broody, and all of this. So I'll go through some of what my experience has been, and yes, this is nighttime. I'm using my phone as a flashlight. But this is when I have time to film. And I figure this is timely. I showed you guys, there's a short that I put out last night, late last night. So if you've seen that, you already know some of what's going on. But so number one, what is broody? So a broody hen, in this case we're talking about quail. Same thing happens with chickens and other fowl. But a broody hen is one that lays eggs and wants to hatch them. So what does that mean? You're going to see their body is going to be a different shape. So sometimes when you go in to collect eggs, you'll see a bird and it's laying on eggs and it's sleeping. Or you'll see a bird and it's laying on eggs. And there is a difference between just laying on eggs and laying on eggs when they're broody. When they're broody, they fluff out their feathers, they you know, put their wings out to cover as much as they can. And what happens when they do that is they get as much heat on those eggs as possible. So if you think you have a broody hen, you can just feel the eggs. If they're a little warm, it's probably not broody. It's probably just laying on it. But if it's very warm, now remember, those of you who have incubated these guys, they incubate at 99.5 degrees. Did I get that right? I better have gotten that right. Yeah, 99.5. So that's very warm. It's going to be warm to your touch, and so that's something to think about. Is it just a little warm, or is it very warm? And so that's one way to check it. But if she has her wings puffed out, then that's a sure sign. Another thing that they'll do is they'll kind of ruffle their feathers some. And what that does is it just creates the air pockets between the feathers to add additional heat. So I know chickens do this. I don't know if quail do this specifically, but I know sometimes they will pick their belly feathers so that they have skin contact on the eggs. And what that does is it just, again, increases the heat that can happen, that can transfer from the bird to the eggs. So that's what's happening. And then I think because of the lighting, the focus is going to go in and out. I'm sorry about that. But so that's what happens. That's what the bird is doing, is they're trying to hatch eggs. Now I have, as you can see here behind me, I have a rope light in here. It's not very bright. It was bright enough for them to lay eggs. If it's bright enough for them to lay eggs, I believe it is bright enough for them to go broody. That's just my belief. I don't have any data that supports that. But last year I had a broody girl in December. So, and this is January. So this is January 10th. It was yesterday. And that is when I found that both of them were broody. So that's number one. So that's what they are. Number two is how to get them to go broody. I've had girls go broody pretty much in every corner, not every corner, but in most corners of my aviary. I've not yet had them go broody in the sandbox, but I don't see why they wouldn't. And then this little girl right next to me right here, while she isn't on the edge or periphery or in a corner, they usually like corners, she is right up against the feed box, which is right near the wall here. So she's in a protected area, and I think that that's more important. Switch hands here. That's important for them to be in a protected area and feel protected. Now my first broody girl was in, I just had a trash can. I had just started not that long. It wasn't that long after I started having quail that I had one go broody, and it wasn't just one. So I had a trash can lid over here. I'll put a card up that kind of talks about that and shows that process. But I had a garbage can lid that was their shelter, and it was a plastic garbage can lid, and that was good enough for them. As I've observed things throughout several broody times, I believe that they need to feel safe, and so they need to be able to have an alternate way out. So with the garbage can lid, it had an entrance on one side and another side so that they could move. Number two is they need to stay dry. So I did have one try in the corner one time, and the rain got in a little bit, and that's not very successful. And then they just need to sit on the nest. So those three things. The girl that's right next to me right here, she sat on the nest. This is her 4th time, I think, being broody. And she has yet to hatch anyone, and I believe that that is because she gets off the nest too much. So they can get off the nest a lot, quite a bit, and the eggs can still hatch, but the eggs need to stay around that same temperature. So that's like when you're incubating, you know, if the power goes out for a couple hours, it's generally not a problem. You just, you know, keep going and it's fine. So that's generally not a problem. But if you have a long term, or if you have that happening a lot, then it can become problematic. Now my first broody girls, I put an S on there, what happened with them is one, it wasn't just one, it was all 4. So I had 4 girls in here with 1 boy. There was a 5th, but she died before all this happened. But there was 4 girls, and they took turns brooding. So that was the only nest that was ever successful. All the rest of these guys, they don't have, you know, brooding partners. So they're on their own, and nobody else goes broody. And so I believe that for at least my batches of quail, that having multiple girls go broody at the same time, I don't know how you trigger that, but that is likely key to keeping the nest warm enough to hatch. What was interesting with that first nest is that they had like specified times that they would sit in the nest. I knew who was going to be there in the morning, I knew who was going to be there in the evening, but when it came to what we would call lockdown in the incubation process, so day 15, there was one that just sat on it for a couple days, and she sat down on it hard. She didn't get up, she didn't go. I don't believe she ate or drank in that time. So she definitely was doing that. And what that would do is also increase the humidity, which is what we do in the incubators. We increase the humidity at that point. And having constant contact would actually increase the humidity, making it easier for them to get out. So that's kind of my experience is basically how do you get them to go broody. Having a natural space is great, and then not collecting eggs. I mean, honestly, that's what's happened out of every single time that I had someone go broody. I didn't collect eggs for a couple days and came out and that had birds on the nest. Now, it didn't happen every time that happened, but every time they went broody, that was one of the factors. I don't know if that's required or not, but it probably signals to them biologically that, hey, I have eggs to hatch, I might as well sit on them. Instead of, if you take them away every day, they might not have that same thing. So I'm going to show you some of these girls. There's 2. I'm going to show you both of them and what they look like. Hopefully the other one is still on the eggs. I haven't been in there this evening yet. I know what this one is. Yep, she's sitting right there. I'll show you the girls, and we'll follow them. But this is, I wanted to do kind of a introduction, background kind of a thing for you guys, that that are interested in trying to get your quail to go broody, because I've gotten them to go broody. I mean, the only thing I didn't collect eggs, but they have gone broody many times in my aviaries, and in both of them. And I only had one nest hatch and only hatched one baby, but it did hatch. So I believe that if you have an aviary setting, it's possible, and it's not going to replace your incubator. But if you want to have a little fun and see little chicks run around, and it's hilarious to see how fast they are when they hatch out and they run around in an aviary, which is larger than a little tiny tote, which, you know, most people have totes as brooders. So here we go. Let me show you them, and yeah, they're fun. So you can see she's protecting it from the other ones, and this is what they'll do when they sit on the eggs. It looks like they laid more under her. Now, I was not able to mark the eggs last night, but I will tonight. You can see she's trying to cram as many eggs underneath here as possible. And she already has tons under her. Let me give you a different view. Hi, girly. Now she's trying to get as many under her as she can. Hi. And this is old gal. She is... Sweetie, move. Move. Beep, beep. There you go. This is an older gal. She's the oldest in the aviary. She's fun. She's a nice girl. Something else that she will do is that she will look at these guys crowded over there. She will actually don't peck at her. I know they want to get to the food, but she's in the way, so I don't know if that's going to be an issue or not. I think she's fairly high on the pecking order. Are you gonna peck back? Okay, so you see how she's fluffed her feathers? She's getting more heat and adjusting. So it'll be interesting, because this is closer to the food than before. You see how she's kind of vibrating her feathers? That's creating heat. Now I'm going to mark these eggs with a blue Sharpie. Could I use a non-toxic marker or a wax pencil? Sure. This is what I have, so this is what I use. I'm going to show you an example while on one that I'm not keeping, and I'll do it off camera just because I'll do it quicker without the camera in the way. But so basically I take an egg, and it's going to be interesting with the camera, with the thing. All right. Ooh. I take this egg, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw, so you see that line is drawn all the way around. The reason why I like to do all the way around is because then if it's laying on one side or laying on another side, I don't have to really pick it up and maneuver it to tell that that one's marked. Now these might have to be remarked as we go because they actually end up losing, it rubs off. So when you ask why do I really need to turn my eggs in the egg turner or by hand for incubation, the answer is no, you don't have to, but it is advised because you're going to get a better result. And in nature they turn it quite a bit, and they turn it enough that that Sharpie will be rubbed off. So that's just what I advise. So anyway, I'm gonna do this, and then I'll show you the other girly, and we'll have fun. So I've taken away all the extra eggs around her. The reason why I'm wanting to remove those is because she'll just continue to sit on them and sit on different ones. So I want her to concentrate on the ones that, you know, will stay warm. So I also don't want to collect these and, you know, open them up and have half a baby. So that's why the Sharpie. Excuse me, lady. Now, these two are on the edge, but it's okay. So a lot of times quail, when they start to go broody, they'll be broody for a few days or even, you know, up to 10 days, and then they'll stop. So don't be surprised if that happens. These eggs are warm, but they're not that warm. So, oops, that one cracked. They're warm, but they're not that warm. So, oh, she's coming back. You ready for your babies? I have one more to do, it looks like. So I'm letting her keep 8. That was what was underneath her. She could do more than that, but honestly, as I'm feeling these eggs, they might not be as warm as they need to be. But she'll come back. She already came back once when I was doing it. She'll come back again, and she'll sit on them. My goodness, did you guys all lay over there today? They may have, actually. Let's see. I see one. I see 3 eggs that are not under there. Is that your bunch? So I don't know if she's still laying on it or not, but maybe we'll give her a few minutes to figure it out. And most of these ladies look very similar, so I don't actually remember who was on it. It was a darker one. So again, they do get off the nest, and some of them give up early, so I don't know which this is. I'll let it keep rolling. I'll turn out my light on them. Well, the girl went over there and sat on him. Let's see if she's sitting or... She has her wings out, but it's kind of uncomfortable looking. Thanks for watching. I hope that you found this informative and helpful and fun, and we'll see what happens with both of these girls. I haven't seen her get back on here, so she might have given up out already after a couple days. But the other one's still going strong. And so what I want to know from you is, what else do you want to know about broody quail? So that's 1. And then 2 is, have you had your quail go broody? And put in the comments what your experience has been, so that we can all share and all know what has happened in other people's environments. Maybe describe your environment a little bit. And so those are 2 things. And then another thing is, what else you guys want to know about aviary stuff. So that's something that I'm planning on doing some more videos on, but I want to know what else you want to know. I have some general videos out there. I have some deep litter videos out there. But I want to know what you want to know. So yeah, go ahead and put in the comments all of those things, and I hope you had a wonderful time watching this and learning, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks for watching.